Have you been told your kneecaps are out of alignment and that's why you're having pain? Welcome back. I'm Dr. Jennifer Boney, Doctor of Physical Therapy, better known as DocJenFit, and I want to go over this kneecap alignment thing. Now tell me in the comments, have you been told that your kneecap is out of alignment? Maybe you still are using tape to help to put it back into alignment as you're doing exercises. What has worked for you, or are you still feeling lost? Now, right away, I want to help to hopefully ease your mind by saying that there's actually a study that looked at different kneecap alignments, and they did not find one perfect kneecap alignment that related to no pain. There was people who had no pain and had a lot of different types of knee alignments. So we cannot necessarily say now that your knee tracking or the way that your knee looks necessarily leads to your knee pain, which is a good thing because there's so much else that we can do, which I'm going to take you through some assessment and exercise to better look at your entire feet, hip, knee movement and see what we could do to make it better. Now, first of all, kick off your shoes. Okay. Do this with me. I want you to be completely barefoot and we're going to assess the way our feet move without trying to think about it. So just have your feet directly underneath you and you're going to reach down toward your heel or toward your ankle. And then I'm going to reach all the way the other way. So reach it down and then reach the other way. Reach down and reach the other way. Now, what you should see happening, which you can't see unless you video it, but what you should see happening is your feet moving from pronation and supination to pronation and supination. So we should naturally have enough mobility in your feet to move back and forth. If our feet are too stiff, if they're stuck one way or the other, then that could be the reason we're getting some tracking issues or tension and knee pain up into our knees because our feet are too stiff and immobile and they're not moving like they should. Next thing I want you to test is single leg balance. So coming onto a single leg, we're just going to balance. Now, once you're here, and if you feel stable enough with your arms out to your side, you're like, this is easy. Great. Close your eyes. With your eyes closed, what happens? Okay. What we're really looking at here is our hip and again, our foot movement. We should have good kind of balance between getting that foot moving in and out. We should have that hip kind of staying stable. If the hip is kind of going forward or back, maybe we need to strengthen those hips, which could be leading into some issues that we're feeling down at our knee. Now I want to give you 3 exercises that can help to improve that stability from your foot up through your knee and into your hip, plus some other exercises that I highly recommend for hip strength that can really affect the knee. So these first 3 all have to do with stepping up or stepping down. So I want you to use preferably a smaller type bench or a stack. If you have a large bench, this could be really hard at first, especially when you're just starting and we're working on quality of movement here, not just doing the movement. So the reason I like you to do it barefoot is because now we can start to spread our toes and kind of get our foot engaged here as well. Because again, we want that foot mobility and strength as we're working on what's happening up into the knee, right? So we're not necessarily worried about which way my kneecap is facing. To be honest, my kneecap always faces out to the side. And when I stand, I kind of get what's called squinting patella and they kind of come in toward each other, but I don't have pain because I work on these exercises. So open up those feet, squeeze the ground as best as you can. You might not have that mobility of your toes yet. That's okay. Now we're going to work on stepping up. If you have a lot of balance issues and you realize that, you can use like something to hold on to, something sturdy or a doorway or something to help you at first. You're going to think of that hip coming back and pushing down into the floor. Push down, 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 down. Come all the way up to the top and then slow it down on the way down. And you're going to work on just this step up. But we're kind of thinking about it like a running or walking position. So my hip goes back as I start it. So get that good running position, hip back. That's going to automatically help to align everything. As I push down, that hip is going to squeeze as I come into that opposite arm position. So using those arms in kind of that running position really helps to better align everything so that you can more so feel your glutes. Okay, that's the first one. I mean, you could do about 10 of those. Second one is a lateral step down. So it's going to look very similar. Again, use something for support if you have balance issues, but we're going to think of drawing those hips back as I step down without even touching or barely touching my heel to come back up. The goal here is that your hips are staying stable. We're not allowing that hip to drop toward the floor, and we're making sure that that hip shoots straight back and keeping that knee in line with my second to third toe as I come back up. That's going to put a lot of single leg stability work on everything around that leg to hopefully help to strengthen right around that knee. The last one is a forward step down. So this is sometimes the hardest one because we're working on ankle mobility and kind of getting that foot to flatten a little bit as I come forward. Okay. So now I'm going to work on drawing those hips forward more with that knee coming forward. And you can either step all the way down and then come back up, or work on reaching that heel forward and then coming up, reaching that heel forward and coming up. Again, trying to think, looking where that whole knee is tracking, not just the kneecap, but trying to control it from coming in too much or coming out too much. We're trying to go straight forward. Okay, I'm going to mention these last two hip exercises because they're often neglected and they can really impact what we're feeling down at the knee and how we feel like our knee is tracking. So this is a Copenhagen plank and a hip abduction plank. And we're going to do it on an elevated surface. So I'm going to use this little bench here. Now, it is much harder if I have my foot out on the bench. So you can kind of find where you need to be. I'm going to start with my knee on the bench. Okay, and I'm going to be in a side plank position. This bottom knee is going to be out underneath me. Okay, so my top leg is going to be working down. I'm going to be working my inner thighs, my adductors. Okay, so I'm going to come into a perfect side plank here. And then you want to think, can I lift my bottom leg and hold that for about 10 seconds? If you cannot, you can start with the reps. So just lifting up and coming down. Maybe you keep this knee on the ground as you're working into that range of motion. That's okay. If you can, lift it up and hold for about 10 seconds. Try it 5 times. Okay. Do it on both sides. This can be used as a warm up. It could be used after your workout or just on an off day. Now, this is a great way to work on getting that strength all the way around that leg to, again, help the knee. Now, here's one last one. Now we're going to be working the bottom leg. So I'm going to put my bottom leg up into a side plank position, letting my hip drop a little bit as I start. I'm going to lift up and try to squeeze that glute. So now I'm working the outer side of my hip rather than my groin area. Coming up, and can you hold it for 10 seconds? Again, the further out your leg is, so maybe I have it more on my shin, maybe you're more here, and you can work on it here, or maybe you're down towards your ankle, which is the hardest one. Okay. And you can work on holds, 10-second holds 5 times each side, or you can work on slow repetitions. Okay. But slow it down. Make sure you're working on control with these exercises. And I promise you, you're going to feel a lot different around your knee and you're not going to have to worry about where it's tracking. If you still want to use tape, that is okay. Here's the thing. Tape isn't necessarily mechanically strong enough to hold a kneecap in place, to hold a bone in place. But it is providing some proprioception, just some feedback into that body to help it feel safer, to help it feel more aligned. So if it helps you to reduce symptoms and you can keep working out, totally fine to keep using it. It's not always necessary, and the way that your knee track isn't everything. So keep working on exercises that strengthen all around from our foot up into our hip and help that knee. Don't forget, if you love what you're learning, I have so much more in stock for you. So hit that subscribe button, check out the other videos I've done in the past, and leave any comments of any suggestions that you have for videos in the future. And I can't wait to help you feel incredible and amazing within your body.